This review has been made possible by Lexus of Naperville. Lexus of Naperville has the Lexus for you, whether it be new or used. Lexus of Naperville is located at 2480 Aurora Avenue in Naperville, Illinois, or you can visit their website at www.lexusofnaperville.com. Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2019 Lexus UX. Up front is a 2.0 liter inline 4, and down below is a 10-speed automatic transmission. If you want to read more of my thoughts, head on over to carmarshal.com/overdrive, where I'll be writing a complete article about the 2019 UX. But really, before we get into it, technically the name of this car is the Lexus UX 200 F Sport, but I'm going to refer to it just as the UX. So, like I said, it has that 2.0 liter inline 4, which puts out about 160 horsepower. Now, this SUV is lighter than I thought it was. It's about 3,600 pounds. The 2.0 liter allows the UX to get out of its own way, for sure. There's no doubt about power. I'm not sitting here thinking, oh, it needs a V6 or it needs a V8 or anything like that. I'm fine with the 2-liter, and honestly, it sips on gas. And then, like I said, it's paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission. Nothing really too crazy there. I mean, to me, 10 speeds are insane. I mean, think about it. My Mazda RX-7, my 1985, is a 5-speed, but it had an optional 4-speed transmission. And now, 30 years later, we're talking about 10 different speeds, which is insane. But it's really, really smooth. And the ratios are such that you can get that good gas mileage, but it's not shifting all the time. It doesn't yell at you when it shifts. It's not shifting every 5 miles an hour. It's a quality transmission for sure. Now again, we're back at the test track. So this is not an open road. This is private property. And so this is front wheel drive Lexus UX 200 F Sport. Definitely enough power to get out of its own way. Definitely enough power for whatever you need it to do. So like I said, it is front wheel drive, but there is an all-wheel drive option. And if you want an all-wheel drive option, it's also a hybrid. So the way that they do that is that it's the same 2-liter engine. Top of the line actually has slightly higher compression than the base model, but it's the same engine, 2-liter inline 4. But for the all-wheel drive, they put electric motors at the rear wheels. That means that there's no large drive shaft going up and down the vehicle. It saves on weight, and you really only use the electric power when you really need it. It's by no means like a plug-in electric car, but it offers that extra little oomph. Now, like I said, this is the front-wheel drive, and also, like I said, I'm not noticing a giant power depletion. I'm not missing the power or anything, and honestly, it sounds pretty good for a 2-liter, honestly. I've heard 2.4 liters that don't sound as good. Now, let's talk about the interior. There's a lot to talk about because I'm a really big fan of this interior. In front of me, I have one single large gauge that is a tachometer. I really like that on really sporty cars, and I wouldn't say that the UX is a particularly super sporty car, although it is the F Sport, so I will allow it. I think it looks cool, and the coolest thing is that the F Sport package comes with a different set of gauges. So if I hit a button, you might have just heard the whirring noise, and I'll show it here. The gauge actually moves over, and it's the coolest thing ever. It's a mix of analog gauge with actual computer gauge. The actual ring is an actual plastic ring, and also it's very reminiscent of the older Lexus IS300s. A couple of my friends have Lexus IS300s from like early 2000s, and I'll review one eventually. I love their gauge cluster. It looks like a watch, and this, it's the same deal. Well, the gauge cluster will tell you whatever you want. Of course, it's digital, like I said. And yeah, really can't say enough good things about the gauge cluster. On the steering wheel, you get a couple different buttons. Of course, you have lane departure assist that's going to warn you in case you go over the lines. You're going to have your controls for the center screen. Again, you can adjust, have it tell you whatever you want it to tell you. Bluetooth phone, speech options, and I think the nice thing, I usually don't talk about the steering wheel, but this is a really nice steering wheel. It's the F Sport steering wheel. It has perforated leather, red stitching, it has the F Sport logo. I think that's really, really cool. And it makes me feel special. Now, to the right of me, I do have a screen. This is going to control your navigation. This is going to control your music, anything you want to know about the car. It does have Apple CarPlay, so if you get a cord, plug in your phone, you can use Apple CarPlay, which is awesome. To the left of that, though, it has an analog clock, and I really, really like that it has an analog clock. Really classy. Just looks really, really cool. Also with the screen, there's a couple different apps that you can actually get with the Lexus UX. There's one navigation app that it pairs up to your phone, and you can find something on your phone and it'll already be up on the screen. The salesperson, Michael, which thank you, Michael, for one, setting me up with this review and talking me through the car. Really appreciate that. He was showing me all the different radio channels, and there's HD radio channels, and also, I didn't know this, but some HD stations actually stream 2 channels at the same time. And so you can get that 100% for free for forever. You can get HD radio. Now, Sirius XM you can also get, but that is a paid thing. When you buy a Lexus, I believe you get a 90-day free trial. The HD radio is free. And granted, as a person who doesn't listen to the radio a whole bunch, I do still appreciate that you can still get that. Down below that center screen is the air conditioning options, which have these really nice sort of fighter jet style toggle switches. Really like that. Then you actually do get a CD player. If you still listen to CDs, by all means, you can listen to them in the UX. Then you have heated seats and heated steering wheel options. But not only heated seat options, you can actually turn it on auto, so it can kind of sense and it won't get too hot or you won't leave you too cold. I really like that as well. Then, of course, you have your shifter, which you can put over plus minus. But also to the right of that is a control pad for the center screen. It's sort of like a trackpad of a laptop. And so you can control your center screen, scroll around on that. You have your menu, home, and back buttons. Really, really cool. But I think the coolest thing is that you have radio, volume, media, and tuning buttons that are sort of built into the hand rest. So you can rest your hand very naturally. And see, I'm scrolling, I'm going through everything, buttons, scroll wheels. Oops, I accidentally turned it on, did not mean to do that. But see, it's almost ergonomical. Everything's where you would think it would be, and that's super, super helpful. Especially for me, because I get into a bunch of different cars that I'm not super aware of. And honestly, it's like second nature at this point. I've been driving the car for 15 minutes. To the right of the instrument cluster is a switch for 3 different driving modes. You get normal driving mode. Eco, of course, it's going to try to save you some gas. It doesn't do a whole lot, but what it does do, interestingly enough, is it actually tampers with your AC controls. Air conditioning actually stresses out the engine a little bit. There's a compressor used to power the air conditioning that runs off the engine. And disengaging that will actually help you get a little bit better gas mileage. So if you are an eco, you'll hear the fans kind of go a little bit lower and not be quite as loud, and it won't blow quite as hard. Then you have sport mode. Sport mode is going to sharpen up your shifts. It's going to hold down shifts longer, so it feels like you're decelling in gear, because you are, and that's really cool. And those can also be shifted with the paddles. I have to say, the seats, they hold you really, really nicely. They're leather, of course. They're heated, yes, but they actually have really nice side bolsters. Then, of course, it is a 4-door, 5-person you can squeeze in here, and we will do a backseat review. All right, so we are in the back of the UX, and honestly, it's a little bit tight because this is the smaller chassis. If you want to move up, I believe it's the NX. But that being said, really nice seats back here. You obviously get the leather, 2 cup holders in the center console, and I have 2 USB 2.1 amp chargers down below. I also get my own vents, which I think is a big deal. A lot of small cars like this think that it's okay just to leave the vents up front, and that's not the case with this. I do get my own 2 vents. Headroom is good. A huge plus to these crossover SUVs is that headroom is good. I'm 5'10", 5'11"-ish, and I could fit my fists sideways up above my head. So up to probably about 6 foot, 6'2", maybe, you should be pretty good. Knees might be a little rough, but overall, it's a good back seat. I could definitely see myself spending a couple hours back here on a road trip. The biggest thing for me when it comes to luxury cars is that luxury cars are supposed to make me feel special. You know, luxury cars, obviously, they're not available to everyone. Not everyone has the funds to get them. And so they should be this sort of special, this important thing. And this definitely feels special. It captures that, especially with the F Sport package. I think that really helps. But just The leather in here is super nice. It's super sophisticated. I mean, it really does feel like a really nice watch. I guess that's the best way to describe it, because all the materials are super nice. Nothing feels cheap. I mean, like the dashboard has this nice leather. The buttons are solid. They don't feel flimsy. They don't feel like they're gonna chip after a couple miles of wear and tear. It feels quality, and I think that's the biggest thing, that when you go Lexus, obviously Lexus is a Toyota brand, but it's so much nicer, there was thought and quality put into this. Now, this is a actually completely new car. This is the first year for the UX, and actually the dealer only had one of these, so I'm driving their only one. I promise Lexus of Naperville I'm not going to crash it, but this is a brand spanking new car, and it's really exciting. I think it looks great. I definitely love the looks. I like the aggressive look. I like the big mouth on it. I didn't really expect myself to like a smaller SUV like this so much, but I do. And one more thing about the looks that I want to say is that I went online and I built, you can do the build and price thing online, and I did so, and I found that they have a really cool, it's an autumn brown color, and I'll show it here. And honestly, brown cars in the 90s and early 2000s were horrendous, if anyone even made any. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but if there's a brown car then, not good. Beige, but this brown, it looks sophisticated. It looks like a mahogany almost, and I really like that color. I kind of am excited to see more brown cars, I guess. And of course, I talked about it in my Toyota RAV4 review, and I'll talk about it a little bit here, is that really these crossover SUVs are the future. Every manufacturer makes an SUV now. Late 2010s, like this is sort of the trend that we're seeing now. And I'm on board. This thing, it feels so nice. You get that ride height, you get the rear tailgate space. Overall, I'm really, really impressed by these cars. I mean, really, this is a very nice car. I genuinely believe this. I don't know what I would do differently. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys learned something about the 2019 Lexus UX 200F Sport. Thank you so much again to Lexus of Naperville. I'll put their information not only on the screen, but down below. I really appreciate you guys giving me the UX to review. I'm really impressed. I really, really am. And really, you get what you pay for, and I don't feel like they cheaped out on anything in the car. But that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys. There goes a sight from my soul.